Hi everyone, I am Paige from my channel Simple Life of Paige. I am doing a collaboration with some other moms from a YouTube mom group, and I am doing this quick video about co-sleeping. We're all making videos of our experiences with our child of co-sleeping with us, and all the other moms channels will be in the description below, so go check out their videos as well. I meant to film this earlier, so I don't have on makeup or anything like that, so I'm just trying to get this up before our deadline. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you about co-sleeping, and I do have plenty of experience with it. My child is 3 years old, and he's been co-sleeping since he was like a couple of months old. I first tried to start with him sleeping in his pack and play next to my bed, and it was working, but I did not like the fact that I had to get up several times a night to breastfeed, and it was just, I was tired, and it was just, one night I just put him right beside me, and I'm like, he's just gonna sleep beside me, and it was so much easier. It was just so much easier for me to lay him beside me, and that way when he woke up he could latch on, eat, and then fall back asleep, because I was getting up every few hours, or 2 or 3 hours, to get him out of his packing play. I would sit on the bed, nurse him, and I would put him back and hope. I was hoping, and he was not really great about that because he didn't really want to sleep on his own. Even while we were in the hospital with him after I first had him, he did not like to be on his own. He always wanted me to be there next to him, for me to hold him, and that was perfectly fine with me because I am that sort of parent. I don't feel right of just leaving him on his own, so it worked good for us to bring him into bed. He still co-sleeps with us. It was about a few months ago I decided, because it was, he's getting bigger, our bed is not as big, so I wanted to try to extend our bed. So I took one side of his crib off, which he never did sleep in his crib. His crib has always just been, for a few months it was just a storage place to put things in, but I figured I should try to put it to use. And so I took one side of his crib off and I scooted it up to our bed, and it's right there, kind of like one of those sidecar cribs you can actually buy, but I didn't have the money to buy one of those, so I just took his side of his crib off, scooted up to our bed, and it works good. He usually falls asleep with me right beside, because he still nurses at night to go to sleep. So once he's asleep, I just kind of move him over to his into his crib, and it's still right there close to us. So usually he doesn't have a problem with it. Some nights he just wants to be beside me, and so he'll sleep right next to me all night long. But some nights he's just more clingy than others, but most of the time I can get him scooted right over into his crib, and me and my husband have a little bit more room in our bed to actually lay there and sleep. Because one problem that I was having when he was little was that I did not really have enough room. I was really squished in the middle, and I could only sleep on one side, keep him in the middle, and so yeah, it was, for a little while there, it was uncomfortable to sleep. My arm would get cramped. I remember a couple of days that I couldn't hardly even use my arm the next day, but it was just because our bed size, it's only like a full-size bed, so we actually really need a king size, but we don't have the room for it. So anyway, if you have a bigger bed, that is a definite plus to co-sleeping. But now that we have his crib beside our bed, it makes it a whole lot easier, and it creates a bigger space for us to sleep. But I do also want to go into some of the safety features, or trying to be safe as you're co-sleep, because if you're like a really deep sleeper, which I've always been a deep sleeper, but it did not affect me, and once I had my son, I've always been aware of where he is, that he's beside me, and I've never moved. Like, I do not move in my sleep. So with me being aware of where he is and that I do not move, it has never been a problem with, you know, rolling onto him or smothering him or anything like that. But if you do have concerns, I would advise you to be cautious of that, because you do not want your child to, you know, suffer any traumatic experience or death. Also, I would suggest not having a lot of blankets and pillows. My son still doesn't really sleep on a pillow. I just never felt comfortable putting him on a pillow because of SIDS, which is the sudden infant death syndrome. He has one blanket, which is the blanket that I share, but I always make sure that it's not around his face. If you do, you know, have like a sidecar crib or a crib next to your bed, I would suggest no bumpers, pillows, stuffed animals, things like that, because you don't want your child to smother. Another safety issue is sleeping on their backs. It's been a debate through the years of where the child should sleep, either like on their side, their stomach, their backs. But I think now they're saying their backs is the best way, and that's how I've always put my son down to sleep, is on his back. When he does nurse, he's on his side, which now he's 3. It doesn't really make a difference, but really when they're like a newborn, you should put them on their backs. My son always preferred to sleep on his stomach, but I always put him on his back anyway, and then, you know, when he could roll over, he would roll over to his stomach. There's really nothing you can do about that, but once they are starting to have some mobility, it's more safe. Always be cautious of where your child is at, and know that you know, you need to have safety measures to keep your child safe, because you do not want anything bad happening. But I've never had a bad experience with my son sleeping with me. And I remember my mom, she had 6 children, and she co-slept with every one of us, so she never had a bad experience. So I've only known favorable experiences with co-sleeping. One of the greatest things it did for me was that I could just lay there and not have to get up, and it was so much more freeing to me, because it was so exhausting getting up every 2 or 3 hours to feed my son and then having to lay down. I remember I would wake up and try to scroll through my phone, but even I was like nodding off because I was just so exhausted. And I was like, enough of this, I'm just gonna let my son sleep next to me. And it has worked fine, it has worked great, and I love co-sleeping. I am trying to transition him, like I said, into his crib, and I do that during the night. Because eventually, he doesn't have his own room right now, but eventually I would like for him to have his own room, and so I'm just trying to transition him into that. But it's because he's 3 now, so he's getting to be bigger now, so he can transition. But I've always had favorable experience with co-sleeping, and I greatly approve of co-sleeping, and I would you know, encourage any moms who are thinking about co-sleeping to give it a try, because it also brings you and your baby closer together, and it's been great for me. So anyway, that's all I can think of for this video on co-sleeping. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.